What does radon tend to cause?
It causes lung cancer.
That's exactly why all Minnesota schools are recommended to test for radon. But a new KARE 11 investigation finds that's not happening. So which schools are testing, which are not? Here's investigative reporter AJ Legault with Radon Roulette.
Mom, you read.
I will.
They're moments parents wish they could hold on to forever.
I think that your mama must be a
Swan.
Rachel Momberg is just months away from letting go, just a bit, sending her daughter Harper off to kindergarten. But before that happens, she has questions for her school district.
Show me the valid proof. Show me that you tested.
Testing scores. Not math and reading, but radon, the radioactive gas that occurs naturally in the soil and enters buildings like homes and schools through cracks and openings in walls or foundations, often accumulating at unsafe levels. Odorless, colorless, and tasteless, the CDC says radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer among non-smokers, responsible for an estimated 20,000 deaths each year.
And so as a parent, my first thought is, how do I protect my daughter?
At the University of Minnesota, Professor Bill Angel is one of the leading national experts on radon, literally writing the training manual on testing and simple mitigation procedures to reduce the risk.
All parents should test their homes as well as expect their schools to test for radon.
Parents should expect the schools to be testing?
Absolutely. It's been a recommendation that's been around for 25 years.
Rachel has more reason than most to expect her daughter's classroom be radon tested.
Right here, that this is the mass in my lung, and it metastasized to my lymph nodes in my brain.
Rachel has lung cancer.
1% of people who are diagnosed with my type of disease at my stage make it 5 years.
The 32-year-old mom never smoked and was a high-level athlete, playing hockey for the Golden Gophers, even playing for Team USA. She's now a long shot to see her little girl graduate high school.
I'm planning to be here. I'm going to be that 1%. But if I am or not, at least she knows that I did everything I can to positively influence other people.
There is no way to prove exactly what caused Rachel's cancer, but radon is the chief suspect, and she's become an advocate for increased testing and awareness. Because in Minnesota, nearly 80% of counties are rated as radon hot zones.
It is a big public health concern.
Dan Tranner with the Minnesota Department of Health says both his agency and the EPA recommend schools test every ground-level classroom at least once every 5 years.
When you look at the numbers of cancer deaths attributed to radon exposure, I think the numbers are staggering.
So KARE 11 Investigates wanted to know how many schools in our state are following those recommendations to protect kids and teachers from unnecessary exposure to the cancer-causing gas. The answer was not very many.
In Minnesota, there are 331 school districts. But state health department data obtained by KARE 11 reveals since 2012, only 53 districts have reported doing radon testing.
Yeah, I'm shocked. I'm really, really shocked and surprised, and that's unacceptable.
Which schools are testing and which are not? The health department refuses to release that information. So KARE 11 directly surveyed the 20 largest districts in the metro. Among our findings, most Minneapolis schools have not been radon tested in more than 20 years. 6 of the city's 42 elementary schools were tested last year, but only some rooms. Not every ground level room, like the health department recommends. In fact, records show it's the same story in at least 7 other metro school districts. Eden Prairie, Robbinsdale, South Washington County, Edina, Lakeville, Elk River, and Minnetonka also failed to test every ground level room.
Is that a problem?
It's a great problem because radon concentrations can vary from room to room, and you simply don't catch that when you are basically playing Russian roulette by testing only a fraction of the rooms in ground contact.
We've tested all of our buildings.
Some districts are following the health department radon recommendations, including St. Paul.
This was one building that had higher levels.
Jeff Connell, St. Paul's Assistant Director of Facilities, says Nokomis Montessori could be a case study on why schools should test every ground level room. When first tested in the late 90s, most of Nokomis had no issues. But because they tested every space, they discovered 2 kindergarten classrooms with dangerous radon levels that demanded they install a mitigation system.
I don't think there's a really good excuse for not getting this information about your buildings.
Even worse than not testing every room is not testing every school. In Edina, the high school, 2 middle and 2 elementary schools have not been tested in the last 5 years. Bloomington, Stillwater, and East Carver County schools haven't tested all their buildings either. Wayzata hasn't done any radon testing in the last 5 years.
It's a relief for me.
Rachel once taught in Duluth schools, so we asked for their radon results. They told us they've never tested.
It's irresponsible not to test for radon in schools.
Does that mean that there are schools where children are being exposed to this known carcinogen?
It's possible. It's unknown.
Unknown if a radioactive gas that is easily tested for and mitigated is in our kids' classrooms.
Why would we not protect them?
A fair question from a mom who wants her daughter and daughter's classmates to have the future she can no longer count on.
And this is my mama. The end. Good job.
Now, we've created a database on care11.com of the 20 largest metro school districts where you can search to see if your kid's school has been tested according to health department guidelines. And as you can imagine, this report's already been creating a lot of buzz. Edina Schools sent out a statement to parents in advance of our report stating that they take all such claims seriously and are committed to future testing.
Okay. How much does it cost? And it's always a concern for school districts. Is this expensive?
It's not
and
super,
who's funding it?
It's not super expensive. Now, if you and I were to do it in our home, it only costs, $7, $10 to run out to the hardware store and buy one of these tests. Obviously, in a school, they're testing every room, so it does get to be more expensive. St. Paul tells me they budget about $180,000 for each 5-year round of testing, but because of the extreme health risk, it's just not an area where they're willing to skimp.